Hey Covenant, my name is Patrick Griffey, the pastor of discipleship, and this is Wednesday Rewind. This past Sunday, Darren preached specifically to the women as we looked at this idea of Wonderwoman. Now, the first Sunday in our series of The Incredible Family, we looked at the Superman, and now we got to take a look at the Wonderwoman. Both of those roles are incredibly important, especially as we're looking at the family. Now, this week we get to look at Incredible Kids, or Kingdom Kids, but we really want to focus on these two parts, these men and women, and specifically this week as we looked at the woman. And we're going to read from Ephesians. Now, Darren looked at a passage from the Old Testament that affirmed that a man leaves his family and becomes one flesh with his wife. Now, Paul reiterates that in Ephesians, which we'll read. But it's interesting. I'm going to go in and kind of look at where he delineates some roles between men and women, but then really go back into something that Darren specifically talked about, because Case and I had a good discussion about it afterwards. This is Ephesians 5, and we're going to be reading verses 31 through 33. For this reason, a man will leave his father and mother and be united to his wife, and the two will become one flesh. This is a profound mystery, but I am talking about Christ and the church. However, each one of you also must love his wife as he loves himself, and the wife must respect her husband. It was interesting. We talked about how Darren really keyed in on that idea of kind of, he didn't say nagging, but like the nagging of the wife, where it's always correcting or having to fix her husband. And we talked about that because it's really interesting. My wife does not nag me, but she certainly corrects, because there's a lot of things that I need to correct in my life. And I think that's where we landed on that discussion. Yes, the nagging, some people do that, but we have to correct each other. That is the entire point of this relationship of a husband and wife. We are supposed to be preaching the gospel at all times through our relationship to all the other relationships in our life. Our marriage should reflect the relationship of Christ in the church. And what does Christ do with the church? Well, he corrects us constantly, very often, because we need that correction. So as a husband and wife in a relationship, we've got to be spurring each other onward to that righteousness. Sanctification is a huge part of what we do as Methodists and what we believe. We believe that we are on this trajectory and growing more and more in our Christ-likeness. Our spouse has to play a huge role in that. I will certainly talk next week as we look at Kingdom Kids about how Eliza has helped shape me and form me as now a pastor of the gospel, but certainly as a father, even as a husband, as a director of discipleship, director of students. I have learned so much from my daughter. And as much as I've learned from her, I've learned even more so from my wife. That as we are in this relationship, as we're growing together in Christ's likeness, as we are striving towards just being more and more righteous by the blood of Christ, we get to encourage each other in that. When I do something right, Casey's going to encourage me in that. When she does something right, I'm going to encourage her in that. When I do something wrong, I need correction, because sometimes I have blinders on. And I think that's the incredible thing that I have learned about marriage and parenting. I didn't realize I had so many flaws until I got married and until I started having kids. I've joked before that in student ministry, I was an expert in parenting until I had a child myself. If someone came to me and asked how do I do this? My kid's struggling with this. Oh, I'll give you perfect advice, because I know exactly what you should do theoretically. And it's the same as marriage. I would say that I probably had a great idea of what marriage should look like. And then I got married. And a marriage ultimately is a union of two sinners, but we are displaying Christ in our relationship. And I think there is nothing greater to display how our relationship is functioning, how we're pointing others towards the gospel, how we're displaying that, than our children. We get to see in real time how our marriage is functioning to display Christ to other people through the lenses of a child. Because if she doesn't get it, well, then we've clearly missed the mark somewhere. Come this Sunday, as we have a special message entirely geared towards our kids on Kingdom Kids.